This is the official ThrottleTorque.
Stop it. I need more water now. Welcome to ThrottleTorque.
I'm not ready.
That's what we're calling it. No, you're ready now.
I'm ready now.
Are you recording the audio?
Yeah, I'm recording the audio.
Cool. Podcast time.
Yes.
We're doing a podcast. I did not think that I would be on a podcast. If you asked me 5 years ago, was I going to do a podcast? I'd be like, absolutely not. Here we are.
I've always wanted to do one. I've just never actually set one up. So here we are. As you said, here we are.
I think, look, I never thought that I wouldn't do a podcast. I thought maybe, be a guest on somebody else's, but not a host. Not a host, right? So ThrottleTorque podcast by One Addiction, at One Addiction, with One Addiction staff as the co-hosts, right? So
not an ad.
It's not supposed to be an ad, right?
This is Jack, our resident Q-Ride trainer. You want to introduce yourself? Tell us about a bit about your bikes and whatnot.
So, I'm Jack, right? As said. Look, for those of you that have been around the shop, you've known me. You've known me for years, right? Potentially. Or maybe you only just did one of my courses with me last week. I don't know. Who knows? Or maybe you've never met me before. That's the beauty about podcasts, isn't it? Here's the deal. I mean, if we want to go back to the start of riding, or briefly, started riding when I was like 8 years old, grew up on dirt bikes with the family, started on a CRF 50, then went to the 80, then went to the, what did I do? Went from a 80 to a 230, which is a significant jump, right? I'm going to upset people by having never done the two-stroke thing.
That upsets me. And you've been riding longer than I have.
I've always had valves, right? Love it or hate it, that's just how it is. And then, just sort of ended up on 450s, right? The whole reason why I started, main reason for me getting a license was so that I could ride my FE 450 in the forestries.
That's a good bike.
Right? I loved that thing. That was the first new bike I ever bought, and it was a 2015 FE 450, right? And then sort of ended up on road bikes. Right, sold the dirt bike, got the road bike. Now I've got an MT-09 for the road bike that's got 172,000 Ks.
The workhorse.
Maybe I should get a new one. I also feel like I'm beyond the point.
You should definitely get a new one.
You just want me to get another one. Right? You want me to get another one, and specifically an adventure bike.
If you know when you go to people to try and discourage you from making poor financial decisions, I'm not that guy. I'm sitting there going, do it.
Yeah. My students always ask me, how many bikes do you need? And I'm like, well, more than what you've got. That's always the answer. There's always one more that's needed. So I suppose now, right, MT-09 for the road bike. Ride to and from work pretty much every single day. I got an R6 for a race bike. Right? So I race in the Motorcycle Sportsman pre-modern Super Sport series. So that's pre-2010 600s. Really good fun class. No electrics. Right? I mean, mind you though, I'm on an R6, which is probably seen to be the modern bike of the pre-modern class. Particularly in the 600s. Like, okay, yeah, I have an auto blipper and I have a quick shifter. But,
all the good stuff.
Right. What else? And then I've got trials bikes as well. So I compete in outdoor trials. I would argue that I'm better on the road bike than what I am the trials bike. Trials is a sport that I've recently picked up, and through Jason, actually, one of the instructors that works here. He had trials bikes in his garage. He's like, I want to see you ride a trials bike. You should buy my trials bikes. And essentially what I think he did is he just convinced me that I should ride the trials bikes. I took them out to ride, and then they stayed at my house, and now I own them.
Always how it goes.
So, look, that's a basic rundown of my bikes and my experience. And I suppose when it comes to the shop, Q-Ride instructor, right? I started off as an instructor, then transitioned into a Q-Ride manager, and then now I'm running the whole shop. So general manager is the big fancy title, but I don't know. We're all here working, doing what we need to do, and it's a fantastic bunch of guys that we've got now. Right? Yes, so you, of course, right? But being able to see the workshop develop over the 5, 6, 7 years, I think now, it's 17.
You guys started this shop when I started my, just just after I started my apprenticeship.
2017, I believe, was the first year of One Addiction. I started working here, I think, 18 or 19.
Oh, wait, 17. A lot longer.
I think it was 17 or 18.
Sorry.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't own the shop. I'm pretty sure it was 17 or 18. So a while, right? What about you?
I'm BJ. I am the resident mechanic and dyno tuner here at One Addiction. My passion for bikes started way back in... I'm not even going to try and put a date on it because I can't even remember. It was nearly 10 years ago with a little Ninja 250.
Yep.
Little 2009 Ninja 250. Bit rough around the edges. Perfect to start on. Absolutely perfect to start on. They got used to riding that around, rode with a lot of friends. Learnt the mountains and whatnot, and started really getting into the community side of riding, and that quickly sort of snowballed into the obsession of I want to upgrade my bike, as most people do. Yep. Those little 250s, fantastic to learn on. They are.
I'm gonna buy a bike to save money is the biggest lie you'll ever tell yourself with a motorcycle.
I'm glad I never did that. I bought it because I was like, I want something that is quick. Like at the time, my roots for engines started way back when I was much younger. If we're really going to go that far back, when I was doing my pilot's license, a lot of the guys in there were both riding and driving a lot of JDM cars. So there was a big component of doing your pilot's license involving knowing and understanding how engines work, and that snowballed into JDM cars, and I got involved in the JDM scene. Got to know a lot of really sick people, and from there I sort of discovered motorcycles through a couple of people at work, and they did the whole, get your bike license, get your bike license. Some of you guys watching know exactly what I'm talking about.
The amount of students that I have that I'm like, why are you getting your bike license? It's because my mate said, my mate started riding, or my mates want me to go riding with them, and it's fantastic. I reckon one of the best parts about riding a bike is the community aspect beside it as well.
Yeah, that's it.
So you had a Ninja 250 to start off with. 250,
and then once I really got into it and knew that this was my new obsession, discovered the MC22, CBR 250RR, and I spent ages saving up for one of those. And I finally got myself a little yellow one, little 1991 model, and this was where the passion for working on bikes really came in. So it was in good working order, a little bit rough around the edges, but not too bad. It needed the brakes rebuilt and the carbies rebuilt and all that sort of stuff as you would with an older bike, and so that got my hands dirty. And essentially, I bought my first set of tools and started spinning spanners that way, and started mucking around with doing mods on it that people say you shouldn't do or can't do on them. And for example, quick shifter, got a quick shifter on it. That's amazing. These little bikes, right? They rev to the moon, like 20,000 RPM is what the advertised rev limit on the MC22 is. Yeah. It's mental. They sound crazy. Pair that with a quick shifter, and it was unreal. It was dumb fun.
I got the opportunity to actually race one a couple of years ago at the Big Chill out at Carnell Raceway, and that was an opportunity that I loved. Right. Me trying to fold myself into a 250 was an experience in itself, right? But just the whole...
He's like skyscraper height,
I am over 2 meters tall for reference. I know it's hard when I'm sitting down, but I'm more than 2 meters tall, and I was riding a MC22, or was it 19? It's 250 RR.
Very similar motors,
Fantastic time that was to race, and I mean, we can get into the racing stories that I've had the opportunity to go through, same as you can get into some adventure stuff as well.
Yeah, I'll get into that shortly,
Look, let's just talk about bikes. This podcast is all about bikes, nothing else, right? Maybe definitely a little bit of banter.
Always banter.
Maybe a lot.
Always.
Right, but this is something that you had the idea of, let's do a podcast, because we've been getting asked for a lot more media stuff, a lot more content stuff. Our content manager is always wanting more content stuff, right? So we figured, why not? We'll hang back after work one day and we'll have a chat about bikes, Let's talk about the things that you guys want to talk about. Let's talk about, the modifications that you might want to do. We can touch on some of the, maybe what modifications you shouldn't do. What do you guys want to hear? Who do you want to talk to? We're going to try and get some people on that we can have good, interesting conversation with, share old war stories kind of thing. I don't know. Like, I know you've got people lined up already.
Yeah, I got a gentleman from overseas, an old friend of mine that from back in my pilot days, and he's very keen on coming in and sharing some of his stories of awesome. He's ridden all over the world, man. He's a pilot, so he travels, right? He's ridden all over the world in different areas and that. So he has some fantastic stories. If you guys want to chime in, write to us. Let us know. We want you guys to come in and chat with us as well. We want to meet as many people as we can. This
Absolutely.
It's why we ride bikes, isn't it?
We can probably try and get Jason in as well. Jason's one of our other instructors, and he used to be a dispatch rider in the UK.
That'd be cool.
He has some crazy stories about just trying to ride in those weather conditions in the middle of winter. I don't know. One story that he was talking to me about, he reckons that he was trying to ride down his street in the ice, and he reckons he dropped it a solid 15 times before he got to the end of his street. Personally, I would have gotten about 3 drops into that and then just turned around and gone home. But if you've met Jason, you understand when he's determined it's happening.
It happens.
Right?
Yep. 100%.
Look, so that's why we're going to do it. We just want to give you guys some information. We want to be able to share stories. We want to give you guys something good to listen to, because I don't know about you guys, but I listen to a lot of podcasts. A lot. Me too. Right? What did you say before? Chewing gum for your ears.
It's chewing gum for your ears. It literally is. Or if you're sitting at home, you're doing the dishes.
Just something.
I hate doing the dishes, man. It's the worst thing ever. Put the podcast on the TV and you just tune in.
Just listen.
It's awesome. Yeah. So I've always wanted to do one. I enjoy doing this. So I was like, let's just make one.
Why not? Let's do it.
Why not?
We've got the capacity to do it. Stop.
You and I both just had the same thought. We don't have the capacity.
But look, we'll get some people onto this podcast. We'll do video as well, because why not? We're already here recording it. And let's just see where it goes, really. Yeah. Right?
How often?
Let's do it every month.
We'll
start with every month. Yeah. And
we are very busy here at the shop. Amongst all things that we're doing, we're open 7 days a week, running Q-Ride and the workshop, overlapping it. But anyway, technicalities. We're very busy here. So this is, for us, more of a hobby, or an extension of a hobby more than anything. So to start with, once a month.
There you go. Yeah, for perspective, it's 7 p.m. on a Thursday when we're recording this. That's when we found time to do it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But look, we're more than happy to hang back and be able to provide to you guys some insights, some information, some topic of conversation, because why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
All I do is go home and look at more motorcycle stuff, mainly on Marketplace, which is dangerous. But
I think between the two of us, we're both going to go home and probably listen to a podcast on the way home.
Yep. And
I've got one by the HP Academy, which they do a lot on tuning and stuff. So I'm always sort of looking to build on my knowledge. So that'll be me. I'll be nerding out on the way home. So
you don't want to get into the podcast that I listen to. I listen to a spread. Let's put it that way. We can go nerd stuff. We can conspiracy theories, right? Why not?
We're not getting that.
No, we're not doing that. Like I said, this one's about bikes, right?
Right.
MotoGP this weekend.
Yeah.
This weekend, MotoGP is finally back.
Yeah, boy.
Right. We just had the first round of World Superbikes happen at Phillip Island last weekend. What do we got? Oh, we're going to cover the local stuff as well.
The local stuff's a bit that's...
Yes. Right.
It doesn't get enough coverage. And that is some of the most exciting racing to watch. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
It is where it all begins, but it's also it's really where it boils down to the skill levels of riders, because the riders are more evenly matched on the field. It's not about who has more money.
The coolest part is, I reckon, is the local stuff is attainable. All right, we all watch MotoGP and World Superbikes or AMA Motocross or Supercross, and we can all look at that and be in awe of what those guys can do. Like, I wish I had 10% of the skill that those guys have. But you guys could club race. So maybe we try and get some of the club races on. We'll talk about it. I race club as well, so get some of my competitors. Right, but like it's the mateship that happens on track, and maybe we get some of the people from the local clubs around here.
One of the things I loved about the local racing was that, you battle it out on the track, right? Yeah. But when you all come back to the pits, doesn't matter who you are. Everyone's helping everyone.
Absolutely. I will be, and prime example, last season, second last round, we're at Queensland Raceway, and it was me, one of the guys was away, and it was me and another fella running 2 and 3 in the championship overall. He crashes his bike, yet I'm running over with the tape and the spanners to try and help fix him, because it's just, you don't want to see your mate crash. And that's the end of the day. Cool. What do we do? We're racing for plastic. Yeah, it's cool to have a piece of plastic that says I've got a championship, but
it's fun.
It's just fun, right? And we'll chat about that stuff. Ask questions that you guys want to know about.
Yeah.
Right, so we'll start off with monthly episodes, and then maybe a few more here and there if there's some interesting, or maybe there's one person that we can only get at a certain time, or maybe there's a conversation topic that is pressing per se, like maybe we talk about those orange bikes.
Yeah, that is going to be an interesting discussion.
That's the next episode.
Not next week, sorry, next episode.
Next week.
Next week, I am not going to be here.
Is that
end of next week? Yeah. For reference, I have surgery coming up, so unfortunately...
You'll be fine to speak after that, that's fine.
You're getting wisdom teeth out, so... I'm talking like this the whole time. Anyway. That's not...
Look, one of the biggest things about this is the fact that we need to offer you guys something that you want to listen to, so therefore we need to know the topics of conversation that you guys want to hear about. Are you talking about mods? Are you talking about what you should or shouldn't do? Are we going to talk, let's deep dive into some tuning things. Let's talk about licensing and Q-Ride. Let's talk about, tyres, if you really want to open up a can of worms.
I have that on the next episode.
Tyres, oils, tyre pressures. That'll upset a lot of people. But let's have a chat about it. And obviously it's opinions. Right? Yeah. Like we're giving our own information, our own real world experience, our own opinions, but
So if you want to hear us talk about it, then...
Listen. Look, so...
Where can you listen is the next question.
Spotify. It's going to start there.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's going to start with Spotify, right?
That's both you and my favourite pick, so...
Spotify, YouTube. That's where we'll start it, right? The video stuff will be on YouTube. Yep. I know you can get video on Spotify, but I have no idea how to do that.
Yeah, me neither.
Some of the podcasts that I listen to have video.
That's really cool.
So I don't know how to do that. Maybe if we can figure out how to do that, we do that. I don't know, right? You guys will figure that out.
This is a learning curve, big learning curve for us. Like we mentioned before, I'm a dyno tuner and a mechanic. Jack's a Q-Ride instructor. And I will disclose that this is the 4th time we've tried to record this episode. There has been some hiccups here and there, but we'll get there eventually. If you're listening to it, then we got there. We're still working this whole thing out. So to start with, we'll do Spotify and YouTube, because it's going to be the easiest.
We already know how to do those. Yeah.
If there are other platforms that you guys listen to and you want to see this podcast on those platforms, please message us through. The Facebook page will be live once this podcast hits your ear holes. So if there's a platform that you guys like listening to, please let us know, and I'll look into uploading it on there as well.
Absolutely. Closing comments, I suppose. I don't know. How do you?
We got there, I think. I think it hasn't stopped recording here. It hasn't stopped recording there.
We don't know if that one's stopped recording.
It could be just talking to a phone that's just died.
How do we wrap it up? You guys. Let us know what you want to hear. What do you want to talk about? Who do you want to see? Make it reasonable. One day I'd love to.
Can we get Valentino Rossi in here?
Yeah, why not? Right?
That's my request.
Yeah. We'll go get Ricky Carmichael as well. Because I'm sure he's just going to come sit down on this podcast because I asked him nicely. But maybe one day, who knows? But to start off with, if you've got people that you would like to know, that would like to have a chat to, or maybe you're a person that you've got some interesting stories and you want to have a chat, message us, right? If you would like to talk about certain things, let us know. we've got ideas. We've got plenty of ideas, and we'll sit here and talk about suspension for 3 hours if you're not careful. So, right.
That's a good topic, that one.
I could easily talk about it, but I don't know if you guys want to listen to suspension for 3 hours. So,
and then you got to sit through my nerd side of it, nerding out.
It's very nerd.
I over-explain a lot.
So, what are we going to talk about next episode?
We're already talking about your little
orange
pumpkin,
bikes.
your pumpkin escapade. Is that the right word? Yeah. And what's happening with KTM as a whole. That is in itself.
I could do a whole episode on that.
It's very interesting because in talking to some of our reps and some of the dealerships and that in the local area and what that's going to do for them.
Yeah. And that's something that I didn't even think about either. Like we all see the big picture of potentially no more KTM. That's bad.
What about the dealer network?
Exactly. I didn't even think about what about the KTM specialist workshops or the Eurobike specialist workshops.
Yeah.
If you take out KTM, that also is going to wipe out Gas.
Yep.
It's also going to wipe out Husqvarna.
Husky.
Sherco will not do great, but like if you're a Euro specialist mechanic workshop, if you lose Gas, KTM and Husqvarna, what are you left with?
Yeah.
It's like, so we'll get into that more later on because that's a whole thing.
It is a very important brand for the industry, and it's just...
Yes, absolutely. It's not just you don't get KTM anymore. It's this is people's life.
WP suspension.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We're going to talk about suspension. Oh, man. Anyway, it's going to be really good to talk about that one. I was going to have two topics for our first... our first full proper episode, but I think that in itself... between the two of us and another gentleman we got joining us who is also an industry professional, will be very interesting to talk about just as a whole. And I think if we just we talk about that to start with, that'll be good. We've got a section on exhaust design. I get as the tuner, I get asked quite a lot.
What's the best exhaust?
What's the best exhaust?
Yeah.
And so we will nerd out a little bit about that, and I'll be relying on the both of you to stop me from going too technical with it.
We can give them a bit of a hint on that. Sometimes the quieter exhausts make more power.
I've learnt that with my Z.
Yep.
It has the world's biggest can on it, as quiet as anything, and it makes more torque. We'll get into that.
But like, that's what we're talking about. We'll jump into that next time, next episode, next month. Look, I don't know how long this one's going to take to actually release. A couple of weeks, maybe. I suppose you'll use it for a downtime while you're on your surgery, I'd assume.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
When you're recovering because
I can't talk.
No. but like, we'll put this out and we'll talk about the stuff that you guys want to talk about. But realistically, if you've got feedback, tips, tricks, leave it with us. Because this podcast doesn't grow unless we know what you guys actually want to see, what you want to listen to, what you want to talk about. So, I suppose leave it there, and thank you for listening. If you've made it this far, massive thank you.
Yeah. We will now put in the bloopers of...
What, the 4 previous recordings?
4 previous recordings were... Oh, man.
Anyway, it's a learning experience for everyone.
It is fun, though.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
It's good fun, right? But you know what I enjoy as well? Going home and having a steak.
Yeah.
So, look, we're going to wrap it up there, guys. Thank you for listening. See you on the next one. Who knows where this will go? Hopefully, we'll look back at this in a couple of years' time and we can reminisce.
We're going to look back in a couple of years' time and then just hear the two of us going, ThrottleTorque, and then go...
That wasn't even in this recording.
It is now.
Let's call it.